estimate quotients using multiples. We are moving forward in our mathematics here in 4th grade. In order to do this skill, there are two terms boys and girls need to understand. The first is estimate. We have been estimating all year. This is when we round numbers to come up with easier numbers to work with. And in this case, we're going to be working with division, but previously we were working with multiplication, so we were rounding factors to come up with a product real quickly so we could check our answer against. The second term the boys and girls need to know is the word multiples. And as I define multiples for them, they would need to think of skip counting. So multiples are really a counting number times another number. So we'll have a look here. Multiples of 5, if we're skip counting, we go in order at 5, then 10, 15. We're just adding on 5 each time. And boys and girls should be able to do this successfully because they know their basic facts at this point. And so forth. Our multiples of 7 would work similarly. We start with 7, and then 7 more would be 14, and 7 more is 21, and 7 more is 28, and then 35, and then 42, and so forth. And notice it's 7 times 1, 7 times 2, 7 times 3, and so forth. 5 times 1, 5 times 2, 5 times 3. So we practice our multiples to get them using them. They've used them before, but they're going to prove very valuable here as we move into division. Let's have a look. So the question is, find the two numbers the quotient is between, then estimate the quotient. So if we have the problem 41 divided by 3, I don't expect any of the boys and girls to be able to solve that off the top of their head at this point. So we're going to use our factors or our basic facts to help us solve this. So I'll ask the students, what is the largest fact that you know with 3 as a factor? And they should be able to tell me 12 times 3 is 36, because that is a basic fact. And that is the largest basic fact with 3 that they need to know. And I'll say, well, is that equal to 41? And they'll say no. And then we'll ask, well, is it close to 41? And they're thinking, yeah, it's kind of in the ballpark there. So I prompt them, I said, well, could you do 13 times 3 without actually having to do the multiplication problem? And 13 times 3 is just adding on one more 3. So now we have 39. And that's even closer to 41 than 36 was. And I said, but that's still not equal. Let's try another one. Could we do 14 times 3? And again, it's just adding on 3 more. Now we have 42. And we keep doing this until we have a product that is larger than our number that we're starting with, which will be the dividend. They haven't learned that word yet, but this is the dividend. So we can easily see that 41 would be somewhere between 39 and 42. So coming back to what the boys and girls have to solve, they have to find two numbers the quotient is between. Well, the quotient is between this 13 and 14, because between 13 and 14. When they learn how to divide this answer will be somewhere between 13 and 14. It's not between 39 and 42, because 41 divided by 3 will not be 39. It won't be 42. It's going to be 13 and something. And they will learn how to do that shortly. The next part of the thing that they have to solve is then estimate the quotient. So we want to know, is 41 closer to 13 or is it closer to 14? And here's where we're going to look at our product. 41 is closer to 42 than it is to 39. Therefore, it's going to be closer to 14. So they'll answer about 14. Whoops. A little bit off the screen there. So about 14. So find two numbers the quotient is between. We start with the largest fact that they know using the divisor. Again, another term they haven't learned just yet, but they will. And then we add on until we get close to the dividend and go right past it. And then we identify the two numbers that it's between and then determine which one it's closer to. So that works perfectly on a problem like this. However, on a problem like this, it's a little harder. If we follow that same thought pattern, I'll ask what is the largest fact they know with 5, and they'll say 12 times 5, because that's the largest one they have to memorize, is 60. And then I'll say, is that near 192? And they're going to say, no, it's not. And 60 is nowhere near 192. So we are going to employ another multiplication feature that we have learned this year. We have learned how to multiply by tens. So we obviously know 10 times 5 is 50. That doesn't help us. But what about 20 times 5? Well, the skill here is 2 times 5 is 10. There's your basic fact. And then add on is 0. Well, again, we're not close enough, but we're closer than we were. So let's try 30 times 5. Again, basic fact, 3 times 5 is 15 with a 0. We're getting closer. Still haven't risen above 192. So let's try another one. 40 times 5. Basic fact is 4 times 5 is 20. Add on a 0. Now we have surpassed 192. 192 would fall somewhere between 150 and 200. What two numbers will our quotient be between? It will be between 30 and 40. Now we have to determine which one is it closer to. Is it closer to 30 or is it closer to 40? Well, 192 will be closer to 200 than 150. Therefore, it is about 40. So this is how we estimate quotients using multiples. Boys and girls need to remember that multiples are skip counting, and we employ that to help us zone in where we need to be. We will be solving these precisely very soon, but we always want to start off with an estimate to know quickly about what our answer will be. Quotients are answers to division problems. That was learned today. Estimate quotients using multiples.